We'll just give Grant a moment we are live on YouTube now, and we'll just wait for the recording to start. And there we go, we are recording. So it is Monday, January 11th, and this is our Committee of the Whole meeting for Inuvik Town Council. We can call to order at 7 o'clock. We do have a couple of additions to the agenda. Items 8.2 and 8.3 were mailed out today. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to review them. There was also an additional information item in regards to 8.1. So were there any further additions to the agenda tonight? I am seeing none, hearing none. All right, declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest. I'm seeing none. Delegations, presentations, or petitions. We do have Acting Detachment Commander Mark Bishop here from the RCMP. Mark, I'll hand it over to you to present your report.
All right, thank you for having me. I'm a little bit lost here without Stephanie helping me navigate through Zoom. All right, I just wanted to run through, since the year is over and we're into 2021, I just wanted to run through quickly 2020 compared to 2019, and then the kind of the plan going forward in 2021. So you'll notice on the report, there was quite an increase in calls in 2020 compared to 2019. We're up to almost 600 calls, or sorry, 700 calls. The bulk of those are listed under other complaints. So that's what I wanted to look into, of what other complaints are. So I was able to narrow it down a little bit just to see exactly where the increases were. So other complaints basically entails everything that's not listed on the report, and it's way too much for me to list. The common ones we deal with would be mental health complaints, well-being checks, breaches of court orders, false alarms, animal calls. Like, it's a huge category for the other. So basically the biggest increase for the year was in 4 categories. Was the mental health complaints, there was a slight increase. Breach of court orders, there was quite a large increase. Well-being checks, there was a slight increase in that. And in threats, harassment, just that general category, there's a slight increase in that as well. But when you add them all together, it turns out to a big increase for the year. So you notice the number for 2020 was 5,045, 2019 was 4,309. But it's not all increases. We did have a decrease in fraud. We had a decrease in theft, quite a bit actually. And public intoxication, disturbing the peace, mischief, those complaints were down compared to last year. And assaults, there were I'd say moderate increase in assaults, and that's all categories. Of course, I don't have any reasonings of why most of the increases are occurring. I'm fairly new here. I just got here starting in December, so I can only give you the numbers at this point. I want to touch on a couple of the few community things we did in December. As you know, Constable Stephanie Leduc was a huge organizer of that. She dedicated a lot of her own time for it. So before she left, she organized the Candy Cane Check Stop, where there was a coloring contest at the school. The children did up postcards, or students did up postcards. They were put into bags with candy canes and some other items, and then we gave those out. That was also a twofold event too, because it was also a check stop for us where we actually can check for impaired drivers and some other things. It wasn't strictly an enforcement initiative, but it's also nice to check those things as well. And she also organized a baking contest, the cookies for Santa. And there's quite a few prizes that she had donated for that. Some big prizes like Nintendo Switch, tablets, and those prizes are being given out now. That was partnered with the Jordan Principal website. I wanted to add, there was a concern from the last meeting. I think I may have missed that at the last meeting. It come up just afterwards, just in relation to impaired drivers speeding vehicles in the community on the highway. So we did target that a little bit in December. There was 5 people charged with impaired driving. There were tickets issued under the Motor Vehicles Act. There were 2 roadside driving suspensions. That was for alcohol as well. Those would be the ones where people aren't quite over the limit to be charged, but they're over the limit to drive. And then there was 13 warnings given as well. And finally, we're in the process of hiring a new clerk for the detachment. That hiring process is ongoing at the time, or this time. The job was already advertised, so the applicants have applied, so we're just working through that now as well. And in relation to myself, I'm expecting to be here another 3 to 4 months at least until the staff sergeant job goes through that promotion process. And other than that, I'm more than happy to take any questions if you have any.
Great, thank you very much. Were there any questions from council? I'm not seeing any raised hands. All right, thank you very much for your presentation. We do look forward to seeing you again next month, and keep up the great work. Of course, if there's anything in between, I won't be shy to send an email.
Perfect, I appreciate it. You know where to reach me.
Great, thank you. All right, on to item 4.2. We do have representatives from Children's First Society here. Both Lenora McLeod and Patricia Davison are on the line. So I don't know which one of you wants to take the lead on this, but I will hand the meeting over to you at this time.
Thank you. I will start, and then Patricia will follow after me. So good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. First, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Lenora McLeod, and I am one of the co-chairs for the Children's First Society. And the other co-chair is Mike Harlow. However, he is not with us this evening. And with us, as Madam Mayor said, Patricia Davison is with us, and she is the Executive Director for the Children's First Center. Tonight, we would like to present to Madam Mayor and Council an update on activities at the Children's First Center and what the society has been doing up to this date. Going forward, we would ask Madam Mayor and Council to advise us on topics you wish to see during future presentations. We hope to be regular presenters to ensure that the Council and Madam Mayor are up to date with current activities and plans with the Children's First Center. So our first topic will be the Executive Director Summary, which Patricia will take over.
Patricia, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. As most of you know, the Children First Center opened in 2015 after lots of hard work from the community. We have spaces for 127 children. This includes the Aboriginal Head Start program that is also in our building. And we have programs for infants, preschoolers, after school, including JK and kindergarten. And we also have a Gwich'in immersion program. And we also have our outreach program. So we're staffed for 83 spots. Right now we have 75 children enrolled and 11 children on the wait list who will be joining us shortly. We have 33 people on staff. That includes our custodians and our administrative staff and all of the casuals and everybody who participates in making sure that the building and center run efficiently. We have 6 employees that have been with us for 5 years or more. 2 are on leave. One's on educational leave and one's on maternity leave. We have 2 professional development days a year. We just finished one on December 29th, and we talked about the 5 domains of Schenker's self-regulation, and the staff had a lot of fun practicing that. With COVID this fiscal year, it's been really interesting. We closed for 2 weeks at the end of March to take stock of the situation and write some protocols, of course, with input from the Department of Environmental Health. And we reopened again on April 6th for essential services, working families. And then as we got closer to the summer, we opened up again for all the members of the community and have remained open and have been pretty much at capacity during that time. And Lenora is going to talk about some of our programs now.
Thank you, Patricia. So our first program is our outreach program. And so because of COVID, we had to move a lot of our programming into the home and out in the community. So with this, we have seen a significant increase in programs like Kids in the Kitchen, Budding Arts at in home, and with up to 100 families, there have been up to 100 families accessing our programs monthly. So it's been a huge hit. Another program that the Children's First has started has been the scholarship program, and this began in 2019 to help us give back to the community. So the scholarship is there for families with young children to access programs at the center who otherwise would not be able to afford current program fees. The length of a scholarship funding for a family, the funding that they may receive is anywhere from 4 to 6 months. And to date, we are currently taking new applications for the scholarship program, it has provided benefits to 4 children since it started. And the scholarship program opens when there is space available within the programs. Next, I'd like to talk about our partnerships. So we do have on the land activities, and this is a way to bring the children out on the land. And in previous years, we've been able to go out on the land twice a year. However, with the current COVID pandemic, we have not been able to offer the same on the land experience as previous years, like going to Sarah and Freddie Jerome's camp for our annual winter on the land experience. And in the spring and summer, we normally get out on the land again. However, this year we were able to go out to Gwitchin Park for the day. And unfortunately this year, having elders visit was not an option. Looking into 2021, we hope to be able to visit elders camps again. And if this is not possible, we will continue to use the Gwitchin Park campsite as our alternative. And we have also applied for grants to increase our on the land experience and nature play. This type of program is important for the children's learning and development. Another partnership is with the Gwitchin Tribal Council, and this in 2019, we partnered with the GTC to offer a Gwitchin language immersion program. The program officially began in October 2019 with a term ending in March 2020. However, with additional funding, GTC has made it possible for the programming to continue on until June 2021. Currently, the program has 2 full-time elder supports and 1 early child development practitioner, and 9 children are enrolled. The feedback from the community and family has been very positive, with a dramatic increase in the children and staff's traditional language ability. And this knowledge is rippling out into the families and the community. Another partnership is our Aboriginal Head Start. So this is a sublease agreement, which ends on March 31st, 2021, with a consideration for renewal. So we provide a full nutrition program, including lunch, all materials and supplies, and all shared spaces for the Aboriginal Head Start. And they currently have 16 children registered. And another partnership is with Jordan's Principal. We have a strong ongoing partnership with them, and currently 9 children receive support that attend the center. Thank you.
Any questions for us?
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. Council, did you have any questions at this time? Councillor Barlick.
Not so much a question, just a comment. I mean, our family were former clients at the center, and it does an amazing job. I have to just give tons of positive input about what they do and the programming that they've come up with and the things that they offer for the community folks who can get in there. The scholarship program is great as well, and I sometimes think maybe not enough people know about that opportunity there to access that. But hopefully the word continues to spread. But it's an amazing asset for this community. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Barlock. Anything further, councillors? Not seeing any hands raised. All right, thank you very much, both Lenora and Patricia, for your presentation. Des, are you asking to speak or saying thank you?
Just saying thanks.
Okay, thank you. Of course, I know how to reach you if we do have any further questions at this time. I think I would also like to express that we do appreciate the update. It is good to know what's happening over there, as although we're only down the street from each other, we often don't have an opportunity to really catch up on what's going on. So thank you for your time this evening.
One thing I'd like to add is that, as Lenora stated at the beginning, we are hoping to give regular updates. And if there's anything that you or the council members would like to hear about or have answers to, please let us know.
Okay, great. So with that, I will let you folks go if you so desire.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah,
Thank you for your
too.
time.
You're welcome. All right, so we can move on to item number 5, which is public question period. I do not have anything on my desk, but I'll just confirm with SAO Hood whether we have any items this evening.
I have not received anything.
Okay, thank you. So on to the adoption of the minutes of the December 14th and 16 council meetings. Were there any questions or comments? Councillor Wood.
Yes, just a follow-up on item 4.1, where I questioned MP Michael McLeod on the, not questioned, but stated the need for a addictions treatment center in the north. If you read last week's drum, you'll see the editorial was on that very thing. Eric mentioned that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission had prioritized the funding of healing centers as one of its recommendations. So I guess that's interesting that the drum would bring that to everybody's attention. In addition, just a moment, I've got to get it here. A young lady from Sawtoo, from Norman Wells, Sierra McDonald, sent a letter to all MLAs in the territories outlining why the territory desperately needs an addiction treatment center. So as you can see, this seems to be gaining steam. So I really hope for the first time in years that GNWT and the federal government take this seriously. We don't have a functioning addictions treatment center in the north, and it certainly shows. People, for the most part, don't want to go south. They want to be around family and have the support they need. Sierra even mentions the racism that's prevalent in southern Canada when they go down for treatment. So anyway, just to follow up on what was brought up at the last meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. I know that in what we have heard from the GNWT in regards to this item is that at this time they're not looking to fund an addictions treatment center. But I can say that in a lot of the communication that I've had within housing and with our couple ministers is Inuvik specifically is looking at the idea of, as opposed to the actual medical treatment center, the idea of having a center that you would come home to and have the wraparound services that you need once you've managed to be clean for a little while or sober, however you describe that, is definitely a conversation that's happening. So while it might not be that medical treatment center that you're talking about, there is conversations happening across departments about ways in which you could support people better when they do come home from treatment, which I think might, my personal opinion here, but might be a very good way for us to help folks out in that, yes, they do get sent down for treatment, but whether it would be in the territory or not, when they come home, those supports aren't there. And so making sure that people are well supported, I think is priority one. Whether or not medically that has to happen in Inuvik or can happen outside the territory. I mean, from what the GNWT is indicating, that is not an option right now, but the support systems are. So just wanted to put that out there as well, that while it's not specifically that item that you're talking about, it is part of the entire system of helping people who have addictions and need treatment. So, anywho, that's just a little update from me there. course, it's a topic that is on the front of many people's minds. So if there's any other questions or comments there, we can continue. Seeing no hands raised. All right, we'll move on to the action items list, item 7.1. There have been some updates on the list. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none. All right. On to item 8.1, new business. This is a request for approval of conditional use. This is for a single detached dwelling conditional use. And there was a second piece of information sent out this afternoon with a drawing of the dwelling. I think I will hand this over to either Development Officer Joseph or SAO Hood to present the item or any information that council might need.
I guess the briefing note is pretty well self-explanatory. We've looked at the proposal of replacing a trailer in the area, and under our zoning with the setbacks and all the different things that you're allowed to have. One of the conditional uses is what they call a dwelling. It doesn't necessarily have to be a mobile home, so to speak. So it's a small building. It is actually the floor plan, as you can see. It meets all the criteria that is required under our zoning bylaw to be placed where the request is. So I really don't have much more to add. It's unless than that to it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from council? I'm seeing none. All right. With that, then we can move on to item 8.2, which was one of the additional items, the property tax auction. Sorry, my papers are just out of order. So this is basically to declare the date of the auction for Thursday, January 28th. SAO Hood, did you have anything to add on this item?
Yes, actually, I do. So you'll see a list of properties in there. I'll just remind council that the list of properties aren't necessarily what will be happen at the in the auction. I know of one property that is listed there that under the PAT Act, the Property Assessment Taxation Act, we are required to but has been in contact with us today about being on the joining that plan. Therefore, that property will come off the list. So once we get to January 28th, the list may look different than what is actually at the auction.
Okay, thank you, SAO Hood. Were there any questions from council? Again, I'm seeing none. All right, we can move on to item 8.3 then, which is the appointment of the auctioneer. Recommendation is here that we appoint SAO Grant Hood as the auctioneer for the tax auction. Any questions or comments on this item? It's pretty straightforward. I believe we make the same recommendation each year. All right, with that, we can move on to 9.1 under our bylaws, which is the water and sewer utility rates bylaw. SAO Hood, I will hand over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Basically, as was presented in the interim budget and actually also in the fall of 2019, the recommendation from administration was to increase $1 and adjust the rates for the water and sewer over the next 3 years. So this would be year 2. And what we've done is taken it that has been incorporated into the budget that was passed in December. This is just formalizing the rates.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? See none. All right. And on to 9.2. Again, SAO Hood, I'll hand over to you.
I could just, basically it is the same thing where we've presented and the rates last year and also in fall 2019 again, following a $1 increase and the commercial changes as well. For this, it's been a number of years that these rates have stayed the same, and we do have a little bit of catch up that we need to do and that. So, but again, this was incorporated the changes into the 2020 or 2021 interim budget that was passed in December.
Yep, thank you. Any questions from council at this time? Councillor Barlock.
Yeah, thanks. Nothing specific to this bylaw. Just wanted to check whether we still have it in the works to undertake an analysis of the potential impact of charging dumping fees by weight rather than by the number of loads, just to get us something to look at, a comparison of those. Is that still something being planned to do?
What we have done is we've modified the fees in the fall when we presented. It's sort of a combined or merged, where there's a flat rate and then we charge for extra weight over top of the flat rate based on
Right.
Stuff like that.
Okay, thanks for jogging my memory. I actually kind of forgotten about that, but thanks for the reminder.
All right. Any further questions on this item? I'm seeing none. All right, with that, we can move on to our department head reports. First up is the planning and development report. Any questions or comments from council here? I'm seeing none. All right. 10.2, the economic development and tourism report. Any questions or comments? Councillor Barlock.
Thanks. I just seen the director activities about a conference call with CanNor regarding the Arctic Market Visitor Center building. Again, post-holiday, my memory might be a bit fuzzy, but was there some discussion that was happening with them regarding the potential to increase the funding that we were going to get from them towards that building due to the high cost that came in for the quotes for the construction of the building? Is that what this is? Do we have any updates on any of that?
We can either SAO Hood or Director Chalice can take those questions.
Well, Director Chalice did a great job of talking to CanNor, and we just before the Christmas break, we did receive word that they are increasing significantly the amount of funding for the project. There are a few things that we have to do on it and that, but overall, no, it was a good news that we are getting additional funding.
Thank you. That is good news.
Councillor Wood.
No questions. I just wanted to thank the Jackie and her staff there for the work they did at the Sunrise Festival. From everything I've heard, it was a great success and it certainly lit up the sky. I circulated a number of pictures from that to friends and family in the South and they were amazed. So good job, Jackie.
Thank you, Councillor Wood.
To be fair, thank you, Councillor Wood and Councillor, but to be fair, the fireworks actually have nothing to do with me. And there's a team, Rick Lindsay, Councillor McDonald, Brian Larman, Marissa, and Ken Crocker, who put the entire show together and spend a lot of volunteer hours prepping the weeks ahead. So 100% of the credit for the fireworks show go to them, and of course the fire department for all their support work. But thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I'll amend that.
Great, thank you. Anything further on the ECDEV and tourism report? All right, I need to backtrack just for a second. I did receive a question in a text from Councillor Salatki. SAO Hood, this is to you. For the property tax auction, how does that look with COVID? Is it over Zoom or is it in the rec center? Like, how do we approach that because of the changes? You just muted yourself if you think you're unmuted.
Right, hit it too many times. We're just looking at that and how it's going to be instituted. It is a silent auction type thing, so we may have to move it into a bigger space. Typically, in the past, we've, let me put it this way, the physical distancing hadn't been a problem because there's usually only 2 people there, and that's myself and the staff member. But we will be looking at what options we have there.
Okay, thank you. All right, on to 10.3, the Public Works Report. Questions or comments here? I know most of you probably saw the town did put out a thank you to our utilidor crew for their hard work over the holiday season and throughout the year, but that was a great to see. So any questions or comments on the report? I'm seeing none. All right. On to 10.4, the SAO's report. Any questions or comments there? Again, I'm seeing none. And the community services report. Questions, comments? No. Councillor Wood.
Yes, I was actually going to bring this up in council concerns, but since Lisa's here now, I received a message with a concern. It says, bring something up at the town meeting for a couple of us gym patrons. I see that you can go by appointment only, starting from 7:30 a.m. My question is, why can't they have it open from 5:30 to 7 by appointment for the early birds? We're willing to pay our monthly fee. Also, I'd like to suggest being able to book for a longer period in advance instead of the day before. I'm also wondering if it's possible the rec center gym card program has the capability of only activating the users that have appointments booked. Booked only and earlier times would not be an issue, nor would you need an employee on site for the earliest patrons. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Lise, I don't know if you're prepared to answer that now.
I can answer probably most of it.
Okay.
If you stem it back to the users wanting to use their key cards to gain access, our program doesn't have the capability to, well, we could, but it'd be very work intensive to be able to, we'd have to program each card individually each day for a set period of time. And I don't know that our current program will allow, typically it's 24 hours. It's not, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You can't do, small periods of time. You would have to do a 24-hour clock. So that's the restrictions on our program that we have to be able to use the key card as to appointments. And if we were able to use it, we'd have to program it per person per day for every single appointment, which would be very work intensive. To book longer periods in advance, then you have people kind of monopolizing. I'm going to book the next 2 weeks at the same time. So I've got that same time for the next 2 weeks. So nobody else can come in and book an appointment. That's why we set it to 24 hours in advance, so that to give, I guess, fair chance for people to call in and book appointments and that kind of thing. 5:30 in the morning, there again, we'd have to have somebody there to unlock the doors. And, so we do need staff people there regardless. And we have to, because we're on an appointment system, and we have to screen the people coming in and whatnot, and have them, well, if they're already prepaid, that would be easy enough, but we still have somebody that has to do the intake. So there again, we've got our new front desk administrator who agreed, typically her hours would start at 8:30. She agreed back when we opened to come in at 7:15 to open for 7:30. So she's backing up her hours as it is. To back them further up to 5:30, it's a matter of staffing. We can take a look at it, but it's kind of hard to guarantee. we wouldn't historically have a full slate at 5:30 every morning, because we don't have a full slate typically at 7:30 every morning, even on weekends. So it's, you know, we're balancing as best we can right now.
Okay, thank you for that, Lisa. Would you mind putting that in a short email to me?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. My memory's not as good as it used to be.
If I may add one item too, that what also, obviously, as Lee said, that we'll take a look at what we can do, but one of the things, the other side of it is under the public health order and stuff like that, with the appointments, we have to have that time of having to go in and clean following a set appointment. So we have it at 5:30. I believe they're an hour and a half long. So then we'd have to have another staff member in early as well. It's not just one staff, it would be two staff members in to have to clean afterwards, et cetera, et cetera. Now, like Lee said, we will take a look at it. But it's going to be a question of just the logistics, I guess, is where it becomes a little more difficult.
Thanks, Grant.
All right, any further questions on the community services report? Councillor Miro?
Yeah, I just want to thank the staff for this, the Bill Miro Memorial Volunteer Recognition Award and Margaret Miller receiving it. There was a beautiful write-up in ours and also in the drum, which I've shared with family who were very, very touched by that. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Alana. Great, so we can move on to 10.6, the Protective Services Report. We do have Chief Hammond on the line if there are any questions. Councillor Barlick.
Great, thank you. Just under municipal enforcement, it makes mention of the mobile speed display sign being put out. I actually haven't seen it anywhere myself. We just have the one sign, right? Or do we used to have two?
We just have the one sign. So
Okay,
it
but
was repaired. Yep, it was repaired at the end of December, and it's been out a couple of times, not every day on a daily basis.
Okay, so it's just been out just more recently.
Yes.
Okay, that's probably why I haven't seen it. Thanks.
All righty, any other questions? Seeing none. All right, with that, we can move on to item 11, our information items. First up, we have the strategic priorities chart. Just an update there. The update that we did in December is now moving to the admin table so that they can fill in their operational strategies section by department to see where those fall. And we will have to have another meeting sometime here in the next few weeks to determine whether we're going to add some of those other items that had come up or how we were going to deal with that. Was there any questions on the strategic priorities chart?
Just to update you, the administration, we are meeting actually tomorrow morning. And one of the items on the agenda of our meeting is to update our chart, part of the chart.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so the next item is the Aurora Research notifications. And then on to item number 12, council concerns. Were there any concerns this evening? I'm seeing no hands raised. All right, we do not have any in camera tonight, so we can adjourn. It's 7:38. So we will see you Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. Have a great evening.